Well, so what are we gonna do today, Cousin BW?
The same thing we do every day, Melvin. Try to take over the neighborhood. Hey y'all, Bloodwing here. Back to bring some grumpiness to the internet. Today is that time of the week again. It's time for another Heifer of the Week. And we got a special treat for you today.
Ooh-wee. I do love surprises, Cousin BW. What kind of surprise is it? Does we have ice cream, cookies? We're gonna have entertainment? What?
Well, Melvin, today we have a young lady that's not only a feminist, but she's gonna explain to us, because I guess we're too dumb to figure it out, what we mean as white people, what we really mean when we talk about Black Lives Matter. So, without further ado, Scooter, roll that beautiful bean footage.
Man, this is one of them moments. Catch a ride!
Hey y'all, this is another video I'm doing in a series with Everyday Feminism, which is a website dedicated to helping you break down and stand up to everyday oppression.
Daily oppression? Where in the heck do you live, chick? By the looks of your room and the color of your hair, I assume you live in the West somewhere, the United States or Canada. And you're facing daily oppression? I highly doubt it. What do you call daily oppression? Is the He-Man Woman Hater Club getting you down?
Well, maybe it is the color of her hair, Cousin BW. I once ate a peach that was kind of like that color there. Maybe she just thinks the comments on her hair are just the pits.
And in this video, I want to go over 5 things that I've heard or seen white people saying about Black Lives Matter and what we really mean by those.
Well, that confirms it. The way you said about tells me you're a Canadian, and that makes sense with all the nonsense going on right this moment up on your college campuses and stuff about using the pronouns. But are you really gonna speak for me on what I mean when I say something to or about Black Lives Matter? Do you think I'm too stupid to know what I mean? And who voted you in on the spokesperson on the entire white race?
So, as white people, we can and do maintain the status quo of white comfort without bad intentions. And we can do it even with small comments or with our silence. And as you might have learned from activists of color, we take up too much space when we make conversations about race, about our own feelings. We need to be listening, and I don't have anything to add on that Black activists haven't said before. So instead of having our feelings impede once again on their important work, let's take some time to work on our own mistakes together.
White comfort? What in the blue blazes is white comfort? I've heard of Southern comfort. I've heard of discomfort. I've even heard of comfort zone, but that's a new one on me. I've never heard of white comfort. Maybe my subscribers out there have heard it, but it's the first time I have. Is that some form of white privilege? Do you think we all live comfortable lives? Because I got news for you. Not everybody that's white lives a comfortable life. Just like not everybody that's not white lives an oppressed life. And what do you mean we take up too much space? I'm a pretty scrawny feller. I don't take up very much space at all. Are you saying we take up too much of the conversation? Are we not allowed to have a say when we're talking about racism? Because let's be honest, whenever racism is brought up, the finger always points at the white people. Always. So why don't we have a right to be in this conversation? Are we just too dumb? Are we too undereducated? How is my word less important to the conversation and to the work you're talking about than someone that's black or brown or yellow. I just don't get it.
This video is directed toward my fellow white people who support or want to support Black Lives Matter. I hear you. I believe that you are doing what you think is best, but let's talk about how we can do better.
Well, you're not talking to me then, because I do not support that racist, violent, terrorist group that calls themselves Black Lives Matter, who time and time again show through their violence and through their rhetoric that that's exactly what they are, a terrorist group that's out to harm white people. There are evidence after evidence, situation after situation, where they are shown that all they want to do is burn, pillage, loot, and beat up innocent white people. No, I don't support them and never will, and won't be happy until they're gone, or made illegal or something, until they're off of America's conscience, the world's conscience. But I know some white people are cucked. Some white people are coward, which you sound like you've been beat down and cowered into being submissive to their rhetoric. I know some people buy into it. They have their white slaves. So let's see what you've got to say to these people. I may not agree with them, but I think they've got a right to speak, even if it's idiocy. And you're going to tell them that they shouldn't speak? Is that what I'm hearing?
So the first thing that I hear is, I agree with Black Lives Matter, but I don't agree with their methods. And it can be tempting to add our voice to a situation that might not need it. For instance, we want Black Lives Matter to succeed, but we don't think they should go about it in some specific way. So we write a post about it on Facebook, or we say it to our friends. But the truth is, when it comes to making real change to the status quo, the best method is the method that works.
The method that works? The method that works? Seriously? Are you that idiotic? I mean, this is seriously starting to tick me off here. This chick is stupid as all get out. The method that works? I've already pointed out their violence. Is that the method you're talking about? Is that the method that works? Or do you want to overlook that? I bet next you're going to mention that they blocked the bridges, which is an inconvenience and incredibly stupid. But that's not the worst of it. It's the violence. The beating of white people that are innocent. Heck, they even tried to drag a reporter in Charlotte into the fire. When are you people going to wise up and look around you? There's no excuse for that kind of violence. I don't care what your issue is. There's no excuse for it. None whatsoever. You guys just, you really get my panties in a wad. I'm telling you. It just amazes me how blind, purposefully blind that you are to what's going on around you.
It's the method that gets the most attention and causes the biggest inconvenience to our lives as white people. Because whether or not we want to admit it, we're comfortable with the status quo. We're not in danger just for existing in the status quo.
Inconvenience? You call what they have done an inconvenience? I will lay you a bet, any amount of money, that the white fellow that was beat half to death in that parking garage and stripped naked will tell you that was a bit more than an inconvenience. I bet you the family of the man that was shot at the Charlotte riots, who was a black man, by the way, shot by another black man, I bet they would tell you that's a bit more than an inconvenience. I bet you that the reporter that was attacked and almost thrown in a fire will tell you that was more than an inconvenience. I will bet you that the shop owners whose shops, the fronts of their shops and the glass and is broken out and all their items looted, I'll bet they'll tell you that was more than an inconvenience. Inconvenience. Jeez. Seriously? And yeah, I'm comfortable with the status quo. I'm comfortable with the way things are. I don't have to, but to tell me that I don't have to worry about being harmed or killed because of my very existence, are you not looking at what Black Lives Matter is doing? If it keeps up, sooner or later there's going to be a big blowout somewhere. And people are going to die. A lot of people are going to die. Don't tell me I don't risk being harmed just because of my existence. The color of my skin makes me the biggest target in the world to these people. Chick, you've got serious mental issues.
So our methods will just not be good enough. I understand wanting to help and thinking that you know a better way. Thoughts like, don't shut down the freeway, just vote in the next election.
Well, you called it, Cousin PW. She's talking about shutting down the bridges and ignoring everything else.
Yeah, Melvin, I had it figured. And by the way, even though the violence is much worse, it still doesn't excuse the shutting down of bridges, keeping people from their jobs, from their homes, emergency personnel from getting to and from accident scenes and what have you. It's just, it's barbarism. And mind you, I guess I'll throw out a disclaimer, hashtag not all. I'm certainly not against black people. I've mentioned numerous times before, I have 4 grandchildren that are half black. My son-in-law is black. I have no problem with black people at all. But I have every problem in the world with Black Lives Matter.
But there's a reason that things have gotten to this point. This issue is too urgent to hope that it changes over time. Black lives are being put in danger at a systemic, institutionalized level, and if we don't all stand together and force the change, it will not happen.
Wow, Chickie, you sure have drank the Kool-Aid, haven't you? There has been absolutely zero irrefutable evidence that systemic oppression of black people exists. Yes, there's been little pockets of racism found in certain police departments here and there. You know, there are bad cops, just like there's bad people in any profession. There's bad teachers, there's bad doctors, there's bad, you name it. Garbage collectors, for Pete's sake. But there's been no evidence that it exists on a systemic level, and in fact there's law after law after law that prevents it, makes it illegal. These people aren't out after justice. They're just out to watch the world burn.
With respect, Master Wayne, perhaps this is a man you don't fully understand either. A long time ago, I was in Burma. My friends and I were working for the local government. They were trying to buy the loyalty of tribal leaders by bribing them with precious stones. But their caravans were being raided in a forest north of Rangoon by a bandit. So we went looking for the stones. But in 6 months, we never met anyone who traded with him. One day, I saw a child playing with a ruby the size of a tangerine. The bandit had been throwing them away.
So why steal them?
Well, because he thought it was good sport. Because some men aren't looking for anything logical, like money. They can't be bought, bullied, reasoned, or negotiated with. Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Black Lives Matter is making it happen by saying, no justice, no peace, no racist police. You might think that you're helping by lending your opinion, but instead of listening and lending your support, you're speaking over the voices that need to be heard because they're more directly affected by this issue.
I wish someone would speak over them. I wish they would. But no, they're the media darlings. Even the main media still loves them some Black Lives Matter and the Young Turks and all the rest of them. I wish somebody would overtalk them, shout them down. I'm usually about freedom of speech, and I do believe they've got a right to speak their grievances, whether I agree with it or not, but that's not what they're doing. Wherever you find Black Lives Matter, almost certainly you're going to find violence somewhere nearby. And don't tell me that I'm not directly affected. If there was some kind of epidemic of cops killing people, it's a proven statistical fact that more white people are killed by cops than black. Don't give me that stuff. Well, the black people make up a far smaller percentage of the American population. And that's true. But they also make up a far greater percentage of people that commit crimes. It kind of brings it back down into reality. You don't want to get shot by cops? Don't commit a crime. Don't pull a gun when you're pulled over. Comply. I mean, that's what I do. So don't tell me I'm not affected.
Besides, it's not like Black Lives Matter activists don't know what they're doing here. They're building on years of history and experience that has demonstrated that it takes radical action just like this to change oppressive systems.
Oh, absolutely, they know full well what they're doing. They know what they're doing is wrong, and they don't care. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Black Lives Matter is not about justice. It's about looting. It's about an excuse to do what you want to do violence. It is a radical feminist organization at its top, which is backed up by a bunch of thugs.
The second comment that I hear is interrupting my commute, my day, my pride parade does not make me sympathize with this cause. And okay, this is complicated because you might be upset that your day to celebrate in the streets about your identity is being interrupted. You might be concerned that an ambulance with a baby being born inside can't make it through the freeway to the hospital. Or you might just want to get to work on time so that you can pay your bills and not be fired. And I get that. I sympathize with these feelings. However, the lives in the hypothetical ambulance are not the only lives at stake here. The lives of black people in America are at stake. They're being shot in the street or in their car for no reason whatsoever, and by the people who are paid to protect them.
See my previous argument about what I have against Black Lives Matter, and that it's not just the blocking of the bridges or the taking over of the Pride Parade in Toronto, which she's referencing here. But even at that, are you seriously telling me that black lives are more important than that innocent child being born in that ambulance? Or what if it's not a child being born? What if it's a person in critical condition because they've been in a car accident or had a heart attack or whatever, and they die en route? That's worth it? Because that's what you're saying here. That sacrifice is worth it? That's not a sacrifice I'm willing to make, especially for an organization I do not, will not, nor will I tolerate being supported. Nobody's life is more important than anyone other's, and especially not the lives of these thugs in Black Lives Matter.
Your convenience and comfort is important to you, I get that, but the lives of black people are more important.
No, they're not. I mean, I'm seriously, really am, folks. I'm getting angry at this chick here. I usually don't take it personally, but how can I not take it personally? They are not more than important. Not in the least. No one is more important than anyone else. You dumb, ignorant, stupid broad. You are the worst kind of useful idiot.
Their anger is important because it is what is fueling necessary change. It's important because it's a product of their very real grief. We need to hold space for their anger and support them. As for the Pride Parade, I know people in my family and friends who were very upset by the Black Lives Matter movement stopping the Toronto Pride Parade to demand a more inclusive and safe space for black people in years to come. I know they felt like it took away from their celebration and was not the time or place for protest. But I want them to remember that Pride does not exist in a vacuum. Pride is political. It always has been, and it will continue to be until all sexually marginalized people are free. As the co-founder of Black Lives Matter Toronto said of their halting the Toronto Pride Parade until their demands were met, quote, "Our action was in the tradition of resistance that is pride. We didn't halt progress, we made progress," end quote.
Look, I don't have a dog in that fight. I'm not gay, and neither is anyone in my family. But there's no two ways around it. They took over the parade and blackmailed them into the forefront and into taking it over. Yeah, I just can't deal with her anymore. I'm going to end it here. Is there any doubt in anyone's mind that this chick has truly earned Heifer of the Week? Well, that's all the time I've got for this week and all the patience I've got left. So, as always, until next time, get out of my yard.